chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded.
The last few days have been a real roller coaster of emotion. The First Minister, or the last First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, I have to pay tribute to her as a great leader. An exceptionally bad First Minister. I'm putting myself forward as the next last First Minister. No, the First Minister, last First, new. I'm putting myself forward as the First Minister of Scotland because I'm great. I'm brilliant at what I do. I can do NHS health. I've done that into the ground, and I can do justice. I've done that into the ground, and you know, you won't be talking about me round your dinner table because you'll be in the jail if you start doing that. You know, I'm not taking any of that pish. There's no freedom here unless you want freedom for the country as independence. We'll take that. We'll steal that for the English. We'll sort them out. We'll get our freedom, our independence. We'll rise once again as a proud Scottish nation, and we'll take it forward. I'm the ideal man. I represent less than 4% of the population, so I'm the ideal man to go forward and represent you as a proud Scotsman or Scotswoman, or just as a Scotch. No, Scotch is a drink. Oh no, what am I saying? Anyway, enough of that nonsense, because that and. You know, I have to have some sympathy with Nicola when it came to that. But vote for me. I'm great. I'm the man. I'm just great. I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night. It's All In with John and Ben. Stand by your beds.
to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? Sometimes you need to let loose, grab juice, get goose, tattoos, taboos, get screwed. Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, heart full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to, something I can't undo. Yeah, I'ma do what I want to, something I can't undo. I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
Hello. What's up, Ben? Don't tell me you froze. What a way to start the show. Hello, Ben. I don't... What happened there? You've been freezing quite a bit. You fucked that up. You weren't on 5G, were you? Yeah, you weren't on 5... I fucking asked you, and you said you were, and you weren't. What are you? Yeah. Yeah, and if I put 2 slices of bread either side of your head, you'd be... Oh, fuck. Oh, God.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So
Yeah,
now he is moving and you can hear him.
Yeah, and they didn't hear anything I said, which means it's
Oh.
all John's fault.
It's not. He wasn't on 5G.
I am now.
You fucking tosspot. Especially after me asking you.
I didn't check.
He just spoils it. He spoils it every time. He just does it deliberately to get my blood pressure
Would
up.
not be a Chasing Dissent live show without technical difficulties, John.
Should I just... I just wondering if I should get the blood pressure machine out and check my blood pressure after that.
I think you should get a hat.
Yeah, what the fuck's going on? I'm going to have to get a haircut, aren't I?
Would you...
I just washed it as well.
Yeah, me too. I just
Normally
got
after
bath.
I've washed it, it lies down nicely.
This is my hair just out the bathroom with a hairdryer. Lies down quite nicely, I'd say.
Yeah, lovely.
I mean,
dyed
it's got
it
nothing...
again.
No, not yet.
It's very black.
I know. I've got to dye it again. I'm going to dye it again tomorrow, actually. That's the plan.
Vaughn says, it's probably better we can't hear him. You're probably correct, Vaughn. Good evening.
Well, if I'm
Cheers,
going
everyone.
away, I'm just saying, if I'm going away next week and I'm making a ton of videos for the other channel, I need to look my best, don't I? So I better diet again.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Speaking of videos for the other channel, one will be coming out in the next day or two. My review of Cocaine Bear, John.
Yeah, and I haven't heard a lot from you, but from what I have heard, it's a little bit mixed, because I think you seem to like the overall movie, or you felt there was promise there, but didn't quite deliver.
I'll give you a little bit of a brief rundown, right? I'm not gonna give you everything.
You don't need to give us much, because I think you want to. There's somebody in particular you don't like about it.
Yeah, well, I think the cast carried the movie. Absolutely, the cast carried the movie.
Who are the cast? Anyone we know?
Well, Ray Liotta starred in it. It's one of his last films before he died.
From what? Cocaine overdose?
I'm not sure what he died.
Sorry.
Didn't he die whilst filming a flick as well? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, I think he did.
But yeah, it's one of his last flicks before he died. I'm not even. Frankie wants to know why I'm wearing a busboy hat.
It's his Tower of Terror hat.
It's my bellhop hat, not a busboy hat. Bellboy hat. I like my hat. But no, it was, the CGI was actually better than a Marvel movie, which I will say is quite impressive. I mean, Marvel movie CGI is a bit shite at the moment. I know that, but
well, I remember going to see the Eternals.
You poor bastard.
The only reason I stayed awake was because the first movie I'd gone to the cinema in during lockdown, because I was in Sweden.
You're in Sweden, yeah, and you had just a normal cinema experience, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. But it wasn't a great movie.
No, it's not a great movie.
And then we went to see Carnage, and that was even worse. Car crash, more like it. That's probably one of the worst movies I've seen.
So I also think one of the other good things going for Cocaine Bear is it's only 95 minutes long. Right? It's not a long movie by any stretch of standard. It just about makes the feature film time length, just over 90 minutes. And, you know, for a story like this, that's all you really need.
Yeah.
You don't need a convoluted, drawn-out script and story. The violence, the gratuitous violence, begins within the first 2 minutes. It's straight into it.
Okay.
Right? I will say that. But I'm not gonna spoil it here. I will spoil it in tomorrow's video over on the Swamp Adventures if anybody wants to go over there and take a look. But I'm not gonna spoil it here. It's a middling movie for me. If it'd been longer, I don't think I would have been happy spending my time with it. But
who don't you like?
I don't like the director. I don't think she should be directing movies. It's an actress called Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, what does she do that doesn't float your boat?
She can't tell a story.
Oh.
And some of the scenes are just sort of, you get to the point where you're bored. And that's on the director. That's not on the actors, because the actors are carrying the movie. I mean, Alden Ehrenreich carries a lot of the movie. No, I don't think so, because, you know, also ultimately editorial decisions are greenlit by the director, right? For the most part, especially for a smaller movie like this. For a major studio movie like a Marvel movie, you've probably got someone like Kevin Feige, who's the head of the studio, approving the edit. But for movies like this, still the director has ultimate and final say for the most part. You know, not a massive budget and stuff like that, but I'm just saying it wasn't amazing. It was funny. And the cast carried it, and I think the real standouts were Ray Liotta and Alden Ehrenreich. So, and they played father and son as well in this movie. So, yeah, very good standouts. But it was funny. It had its moments. If it had been any longer, I don't think I'd have been happy with it. So that's what I'm going to say for now.
Okay.
That's what yeah.
So it's Friday night, and it's been quite a busy week. Although I thought Ukraine went very quiet.
Well, Ukraine has gone very quiet because, you know, at the end of the day, we're getting to that point now, aren't we, where nothing but a peace deal is probably on the table.
Well, we'll get... There's a bit... as you know, I've been doing a lot of digging into Ukraine because
you have.
I'm 2/3 of the way through my video. And yeah, there's a little bit of an update that I'll give you on Ukraine. I'm not quite sure when to slip it in.
Just slip it in now. You might as well segue there. Come on.
Okay,
Come on,
well, let's go.
straight out the gate, baby.
Let's go to Ukraine. So, Bakhmut, which will shortly be renamed to its Russian name,
Okay.
is about to fall. Apparently, Ukraine...
What's that? Bakhmutsky?
No, I think it's something like Black something or something like that. But anyway, I'm not quite sure. Names are really inconsequential, but there's... So it's about to fall. Apparently, the Ukrainian army have decided to pull out.
Yeah.
Earlier on today, they said that Russia had been blowing up bridges, and now they're saying it's Ukraine that's been blowing up the bridges.
Oh, who gives a shit who did it? Bridges are being blown up.
The bridges are blown up.
Yep.
There's one road left, and they're using it to leave. So
We are leaving, comrades.
So this is the fortress that would never be undefended. Okay. So that's fallen, or it's about to fall. Solidar's already fallen. The Russian advance is getting faster because there isn't so many defences anymore.
Right.
NATO Secretary General has said that Ukraine will run out of artillery ammunition in the summer.
Yeah.
And NATO cannot resupply them because they do not have the ammo.
Oh, interesting.
Well, when that happens, Ukraine's dead.
Time for peace talks.
Well, yeah, they might come sooner than that because Intel has everything's an informed guess, really, because you're getting it from people on the ground who are pro-Ukrainian and then pro-Russian, and they're usually foreigners who are feeding it out to us. So it's all a kind of informed guess, right? But Colonel McGregor reckons that he reckoned that 25,000 Russians had been killed.
Yeah.
And apparently he's being told that's way too high.
Okay.
Right. So, but he's estimating that 400,000 to 500,000 Ukrainian soldiers are dead. And apparently that's not far off the figure. Out of an army that only started with 600,000. And this, you can see this actually when you do some digging and grubbing about. You see the Ukrainian guys getting lifted off the street and pressed into service. Kids, old people, women.
Yeah.
Now they all get a green band, right? Because they are raw troops. So they all get a green band, and they've been thrown into Bakhmut, into the city, because it's easier to defend a city than it is to... And you'll know this from Fortnite. It's easier to defend a small town than it is to defend when you're out in the open, right?
Yeah. So
they put the experienced troops out in the open. These are the guys with the blue and yellow flashes. So the guys with the green tape are the raw ones. And their life expectancy when they hit the front line in Bakhmut is now 4 hours.
if you thought that your life expectancy when hitting the front line would be 4 hours, would you not think of self-preservation, John?
Yes, I would. But
Yeah, me too.
unfortunately, if they turn around and go the other way, they're likely to get shot.
So they're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's the situation there, right? So it's looking like there's a big problem now, in that NATO's kind of starting to lose the will. Because Germany, as we've talked about it a number of occasions, Germany's pissed off, right? Schultz is going to lose his job if he doesn't start doing what the people think, because they're still having these massive protests in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
So Germany is pissed off. Germany doesn't want to be at war with Russia.
Yep.
Germany wants gas.
Yep.
And hasn't got any. France is getting pissed off, and Macron's position is looking a bit tenuous. Pardon me. I think Sweden and Finland aren't quite as gung ho about joining NATO as they once were. So the only ones left that are really pushing it for NATO is the UK and Norway.
Yep.
And obviously America. But America's getting to the point now that they're starting to think, how do we backtrack this? Because they even started the Washington Post kind of backtracking it, didn't they? They started to walk it back a little.
Well, I'll tell you how they walk it back a little. The way that they always do. At some point, they'll just stop talking about it.
Well, see,
this is what they do.
Yeah, I know. And the problem is they're now going to have to seek a negotiated settlement, right? Because if they don't, and let's be fair, Putin's told us exactly, over the last 20 years, he's told us exactly what we're going to do, what he's going to do. He's always told us. He's told us he won't tolerate it. And he told us for 20 years he wouldn't tolerate it. And eventually he took action, right? So you can't say it was a surprise. Right?
No.
It was not a surprise, especially when Ukraine started shelling the Donbass and upped the ante before Christmas and then quadrupled or tripled or 10 times the ante in early February, just before Putin moved in. So you cannot say it was a surprise that this happened, right?
No.
America think it was a surprise because they didn't think Putin had the guts to do it. But do you remember last year when I said to you, Biden's just given Putin the go-ahead? Do you remember that? When Biden said, even if Putin did go in, if it was a minor incursion, remember he said that? If it was
if it was a little invasion.
If it was a little minor incursion, it would probably be okay.
But
that's exactly what Putin did. That was a fairly minor incursion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They went in fast, they went in hard, they got a fair bit of ground, and then they stopped. And then they went to the negotiating table, remember? And they had a deal.
And then
inked.
Boris Johnson turned up.
They had a deal inked and ready to sign, and fucking Bojo the clown turned up, and the next thing you know, it's all gone.
It's all gone.
And Zelensky's no, right? And then they just start feeding it, and the thing keeps going.
And as Frankie says in the chat, the meat grinder. It's become the meat grinder. And
well, it has now, because initially people thought Russia's a shit army because they get pushed back quite quickly after that. But you got to remember, Russia were never ready to do what they then suddenly had asked of them.
No.
Because the whole thing was, and Putin probably went against these military commanders when I'm pretty sure he told them, go in soft, don't cause a lot of damage, don't get a lot of collateral damage, and try and not kill any civilians, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they did, because there wasn't a lot of damage at the start.
I mean, like Frankie says in the chat, even China are calling for a peace deal.
Yeah. But China, China's always got something. I mean, they are playing 4D chess when we're playing checkers.
Yeah, but I mean, China are playing 4D chess with the entire world, and it's called the Belt and Road Initiative. That is their 4D chess, right? And people need to see it. They have literally steamrolled their way across Africa, taken control of ports, of industry, of cities in some cases, and basically colonized them, right?
So anyway, as I was saying, so what Putin's done is he's told us what he's going to do. And and people are going on about, if he keep, Zelensky's going on about, if he keeps going, you'll need to send your American sons and daughters to go and fight, because it will be for NATO. No, Putin's told us exactly what he's going to do. He's going to move into Ukraine and push as far as he needs to make sure that the weapons that they have, the long range weapons that they have, can't reach Russia, right? And that's those HIMARS things, which have a range of 150 kilometers. So he's going to push at least 150 kilometers from the borders of Donbass, I would say.
Yeah.
So that's what he's going to do. And I'm pretty sure he'll do that, and then he'll stop, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, tough shit. That's what he'll do. And he'll stop, and then he'll try and negotiate peace. But there's a couple of things that have happened along the way. He will have completely destroyed the Ukrainian army. There will be nothing left. right? And Zelensky's regime will not be able to function if Zelensky is still alive.
Yeah, and I mean,
I actually feel a little bit sorry for Zelensky. Because Zelensky, after all is said and done, is nothing but an actor.
Hey, the puppet, yeah.
And he's a puppet for America, and he's just had an...
Well,
and Boris is a puppet for
West,
America, right?
He's a puppet for the West in general.
Boris is like his handler.
Yeah.
And it's quite embarrassing when you look at it, because we're just getting played for fucking stooges.
I mean, even since Boris Johnson has left his position as Prime Minister, he's been over to see him, hasn't he? He's been over there. He's treated like royalty over there.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, has Richland been? I think
Rishi has.
Zelensky came here last week.
No, he's been there now. Yeah.
Hello there, United Kingdom Parliament. I need your weapons.
But yeah,
I need your planes. I need your sons and daughters. I mean,
so that's what's going to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And basically NATO, stroke Germany, stroke France, stroke Britain, stroke USA are going to have to turn around and go, yeah, we were wrong. Fucking sign the dotted line.
Shalimi says apparently Bojo is getting a job in the UN or something.
Secretary General of NATO.
Yes, that's the rumor, isn't it? That Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson will become the Secretary General of NATO.
If NATO lasts long enough.
Yeah, but what kind of combat experience does Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson have?
None.
So what qualifies Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson to be in that position?
Well, let me ask you this.
Right.
The current Secretary General of NATO, the Norwegian guy, what combat experience has he got?
None.
You tell me.
What qualifies these people to be Secretary General?
I mean, at least the guy's a general, right? But
yeah,
I can't remember any wars Norway's been in recently.
Do you know what I'm completely indifferent to NATO existing, right? Because like you say, it's probably not going to exist in its current form at the very least for much longer, especially with Germany pissed that the US blew up their pipeline. You know, it was just as much Germany's pipeline as it was Russia's.
Yeah, and you know that I don't know. Well, you know that Britain was supposed to take over the Rapid Reaction Force this year.
Yeah, and that's been quote unquote delayed, right?
Yeah, it's been delayed for a year.
Why?
Because NATO don't think Britain are up to the job.
You know what?
And you're probably right.
I was going to say, this is one of them rare instances where I'm not going to disagree with NATO. And as you know, I don't mean to disparage my own country, but at the same time, our army is a bit shocking at the moment, isn't it?
5 days worth.
John,
Ben.
When I joined the army, I didn't know whether or not I'd be allowed to cry.
Well, you better get the bucket ready, because guess what's just happened?
What's that?
Well, let me take you back to 2016.
Okay, you've taken me back to before the financial crash.
Yeah.
We're going back away.
So in 2016, Britain and a country called Argentina made a pact.
Yes.
And that pact was basically an agreement to disagree about the status of the Falkland Islands.
We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, in the interest of just getting on, right? You say they're yours, and we say they belong to Argentina, and we'll just disagree about it. But
and we'll just leave the status quo in place.
And yeah, nobody will do anything.
Yeah.
Argentina's just ended the pact.
Oh.
They've just said, well, actually, maybe the island needs to decide who the rulers should be. Now,
John,
at this point,
John.
Yeah.
I was thinking about joining the army, but I didn't know if I'd be able to stop during the theatre of war to pray.
Yeah, of course you can. We'll even give you lube in case somebody comes along. But anyway, while your butt's in the air. But anyway, So, what did I say like 2 weeks ago?
I know.
Did I not say if Argentina has a go at the Falkland Islands, there's nothing we could do to stop them?
Yep.
Is this my fault?
Maybe. You need to go and look at the podcast and see how many people are downloading it in Argentina.
No.
And for those of you who don't know, you can indeed, if you can't come to watch this show, you've got a shitty YouTube connection or something, you can find us at Chasing Dissent on anywhere you get your podcast, basically. So you can get these shows on podcast form as well. And so if you've got friends that don't have time but want to listen to it while they're on a bike ride or out on a run or something, tell them, go find Chasing Dissent on all your podcast platforms, and you can get these shows put out as podcasts. John sits there and lovingly produces the podcast every other day, don't you, John?
Yeah, I do. I put one out this morning.
See that dedication, boys and girls, dedication.
Don't be mistaken, Tony. The Rapid Reaction Force still exists. It was just Britain's turn to take it over and run it. So that's been delayed by a year. It's staying with Germany for the next year.
John.
Germany's only got 3 days worth of ammunition.
John.
Ben.
I wanted to join the army, but I didn't want them to know I was gay.
That's okay. Gay people are more than happy, more than welcome to be in the army now.
I mean, I'm not disparaging gay people. I'm not disparaging people who pray or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, this is the recruitment drive, the public face of the British Army right now. Do you think people like Argentina are looking at this and smelling blood in the water?
Yeah, well, right. It's like, as you say, right? It's like a school of sharks circling, isn't it?
Yes.
They can sense the fear. They can sense the weakness.
We've done this. You look at China's bloody army adverts. It's Call of Duty. It's bloody Call of Duty. Right?
You look
it
at
is
Russia.
Call of Duty.
You look at Russia's army adverts and you think, oh shit.
Yeah. Then you look at our bloody army adverts. It's like, I didn't know whether or not it was acceptable to be woke and PC in the army. Turns out that's all they are.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, that's what we've got.
You need to go and look at our. What's the video called? Something about you want them having your back or something like that. But
I don't remember. Link it in this afterwards.
I'll see if I can find it and put it in the what do you call it? What do you call it? Description.
In the description. It can go in the description after the fact. Yeah.
Lots of lesbian ladies play golf as well, apparently.
And
not just in the army. It's just Adam says there's a lot of lesbian ladies in the army.
Yeah, well, I imagine there are a bunch of straight ladies in the army as well, but, I don't care.
Yeah.
This is not a show that has ever cared about the sexual orientation of anybody watching it. We
not,
don't care.
We're not disparaging their sexual preference. Nope. What we're disparaging is the army's ability to go and fight an actual war.
Yeah, when they're literally pandering to all of this sort of woke agenda. And I hate to use the term, I really do, because I feel like we're sinking to the levels of other channels when saying stuff like that, and people who use this for clout or whatever. But at the same time, it is what it is. When you look at those recruitment adverts, it is ridiculous. And the recruitment adverts used to be way better. They were never on the level of, say, China or Russia, but they'd be like traveling in a plane and then jumping out in your parachute and landing and stuff like that.
I remember the Marines coming out the swamp and things like that.
Yeah,
they were blacked up, weren't they? Is that allowed? Can you still do that?
Well, Morris dances still happen. And I'm telling you, they black up. They black up too.
You know what, Shalini? See, if you're wielding a high velocity rifle, I don't think it matters what size you are.
But yeah, well, no, especially if you're wielding that high velocity rifle, putting your eye to it and not having the bump stock on your shoulder.
No, that might make a difference. But if you're holding it properly and shooting accurately, then I don't think it really matters what size you are. In fact, it might be an advantage to be smaller target.
I would like to give a little update, actually, on our dear friend Ed the Techie. I've been speaking to him today.
Who's in Egypt?
He is in Egypt. He is in Egypt diving for the next 2 weeks. So he was supposed to be preparing the Jack the Ripper show, but I think that might be on the back burner for a minute.
Yeah, he was. He was a potential to co-host as well, but apparently
Yeah.
that's out the window
But-
because the internet is appalling.
I want to address that actually because I'm going to announce today's next Friday's co-host. Trudy has asked who is replacing me next Friday, right? And it's AI Biden.
I was actually thinking, along with the other potential, but I was thinking I might ask the wife.
Ooh. Do you know what? I approve that.
This message has been endorsed by Ben.
It has because she's been on before.
Yeah,
And she did a fantastic job. I mean, we were kind of interviewing her, and she was kind of on the spot. But
yeah.
you know, you should ask the wife.
Especially if I give her a drink.
Yeah. Shalini says that would be great.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
It might
I
happen.
endorse that. I 100% approve that as a replacement because at the end of the day, I've got to approve whoever's going to replace me
Right. So,
because I want you to have quality.
Oh, definitely, old bean. Right. So, the US were all up in arms as well, weren't they? Because they not happy about Xi Jinping, who was
Why
talking
are they not happy about me now, John?
because you were gonna supply some arms to Vlad.
No. You got it all wrong. I was just going to supply him barrels upon barrels upon barrels of honey. Pure honey.
So anyway, so the US, Team America, World Police, and you know what? I'd love America, right?
Right.
I hate their federal government.
Do you know what? I'm on the same. I mean, for purposes of the fact that that's where I probably want to live out the rest of my life in a few years' time. Don't hate you that much.
Yeah, but they fucking they think they own the world.
Yeah, they do. They do think they own the
Yeah,
world.
they
But
go
that's-
nuts. They go nuts over China. Apparently, going to supply some drones to Russia, right?
Yeah.
But do you know how many countries America is currently supplying arms to?
That's probably a great many. Saudi Arabia.
65 fucking countries! 65! I know, because I went and looked. Pot! Kettle! Doesn't even come into it!
No, you're right. Adam says, is that Pooh movie out yet? Blood and Honey. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. The very, very extremely low budget public domain Winnie the Pooh horror movie has indeed been released. I haven't watched it because I can't be asked to go and find a copy of it. But yeah, it's out. John,
Ben.
can we move off of war?
We can move. I tell you what, we will move briefly to, right? First of all, because I have the
Right.
line here. Guy
Hmm.
Guy is the soup Nazi to Orban's Elaine. Do you get the reference?
No, I can't say I do.
You ever seen Seinfeld?
Not for a very, very long time.
I'm just wondering. So Guy Verhofstadt has said that Viktor Orban needs to shut up and stop talking because he keeps objecting to Finland and Sweden's entry into NATO. And therefore, he should no longer be allowed to speak about it and should have his vote taken off him.
Oh, what, because
This is a NATO country
this is
telling
Guy
another NATO
Verhofstadt.
country. What?
This is Guy Verhofstadt.
Yeah, Guy.
Right.
Guy.
No, we call him Guy on this channel.
Guy.
Guy.
Yeah, I've got to call him Guy. I've got it. But anyway, yeah, so this is fucking Verhofstadt saying that they should take the vote off of Turkey because he keeps vetoing Finland and Sweden's entry.
Oh, holy hell.
That's that. I don't agree with what that guy's got to say, so I shall fucking erase him from social media. I shall erase his vote from the chamber of NATO or whatever. He shall not be allowed to speak. That's pretty much what's happened for the last 3 years for people like us.
So Frankie asked what was wrong with the Died Suddenly movie, guys, and I'm going to tell you straight up, I didn't watch it.
I've watched it.
You've watched Died Suddenly?
What, the one with John Bow in it?
No, that's Safe and Effective.
Oh.
I'm going to tell you why I didn't watch Died Suddenly.
Who's in Died Suddenly? Who did that?
I'm going to tell you why. There's a two-word reason I didn't watch Died Suddenly. That's Stu Peters.
Oh, jeez. Did Stu Peters make it? Stu Peters is on the list. What I've got here is, I think I did watch this because it did go on about, is Hydra not part of Marvel? Or is that DC?
That's part of Marvel.
Right, okay. So anyway, it went on about things like that, didn't it? But anyway, Stu Peters is down here on the list as Stu, Alex, close comma, Peters.
It should be called Stu-Pid Peters.
It's...
at the end of the day, people might not like me saying this about him. But if you want the definition of grifter, right? You want the definition of grifter? Stu Peters, the ex-bounty hunter who popped up out of nowhere with obviously financial backing, a nice studio and things like that, and then him constantly inviting people on the show to say things like there are hydras in the you-know-what. Right? And saying this, oh my God, this is absolutely factual and amazing, and it's so scary. Shut up. Please, shut up. Because, yes, whilst there's the man is just ridiculous. And
did you lose your train of thought there, Old Bean?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought because I needed to stop talking before platforms started. Oh,
right, okay.
Stu Peters is honestly, I just can't with that man. He is the type of person that if you wanted to go down the conspiracy, right? If you want to go, let's indulge me and come down a rabbit hole with me for a minute. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, if you want to say that there are people that are purposely saying things that are so outrageous that when people believe them, they are instantly discredited in any way. Yeah. That's Stu Peters. I feel like if there was a definition of quote unquote controlled opposition, someone put in place to make people look really, really, really ridiculous, that's Stu Peters, and that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, either that or he really is Stu-Pid.
Yeah, I find some of the stuff he comes out with is a bit outrageous.
Well, yeah, because let's face it, and I'm going to try and say this delicately, but there are things wrong with the thing, and there are people dying because of the thing, right? And I think we all, well, we've got death certificates that prove it in this country. It doesn't matter how many. Doesn't matter if it was one or two. Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
There are people dying because of the thing.
Okay.
And to just keep outlandishly saying it's this, that, it's the other, it's hydras, it's all of that, takes away from the real problem, from the real issue, and from the real reason. And it takes away from any legitimate investigation being able to be conducted, because then you get these sorts of people calling for an investigation and people go, that person who's already said there's definitely hydras there wants to do an investigation. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I do.
And so it falls upon, I think, people like us and other people that sit in the middle to turn around and call out any side of any debate, because we need to bring it back to rationality. We need to bring it back to reason. And the reason says that when people say that there is a problem with the thing, they've probably got a point. right? And also, we want to see the same outcome. We want to see an investigation, and we want to see consequences where necessary. But how are you going to get that if you get this?
Well, do you not think that sometimes there actually is such a thing as controlled opposition?
Yes.
And, you know, the more ridiculous you make them, the easier it is to target everyone with the same brush. I mean, look at the things that people get called now just for saying something fairly innocuous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at that clown Kay Burley, right?
Yeah.
Look at her saying, you know, why would you give this information to a vaccine denier?
Oh no, it was a COVID lockdown.
Sorry, a COVID lockdown denier, right? What's a COVID lockdown denier? I mean,
it's someone that Kay Burley doesn't like, and I would actually say it's Kay Burley because during a COVID lockdown, she denied there was one when they had a party and got suspended for 6 months. Yeah,
yeah. Party
I'd say she was more of a COVID lockdown denier than most.
But yeah, I loathe and detest these labels. Like, see, as soon as you use the word denier, and
you are trying to evoke, you know what?
Well, as soon as you use the word denier in my book, as soon as you use that word, you're evoking religion.
Well, maybe
that's
not just
you're
religion.
now into a belief system. It's not science. It's a belief system. If somebody's a denier, it's a belief system.
Yeah.
Because science can always and always should be questioned. Because science is never, ever settled.
Correct. And did you know, if we went sensational, if this show went sensational, like Stu Peters, for example, there would be far more than 11 people watching right now.
Yeah, there would, yeah.
And do you know what? I'm comfortable with the audience that we have, right? And that's because
I'm not.
Well, I would like more, obviously.
Yeah. Tony's right. Tony's right in the chat there.
Yeah, he is. But what I'm saying is that trying to rationalize everything and trying to ask for a higher standard of evidence when it comes to a lot of these things is the right path, I think, to go down to move society forwards. And
yeah, I think you're right. And it's like we deal with really tough issues at times.
We do.
You remember we lost a few subs a couple of weeks ago after the Sonia Poulton thing.
We did.
With my spat. And I stand with what I said because I never ever came out in support of anyone. What I said was, if you want to change how you deal with these people, then you need to change the law. And if you want to live within a lawful society, that's what you've got to do. If you don't want to live within a lawful society, that's fine. You go and do what you need to do, right? I'm not asking you to do or not do anything. You make up your own mind.
I would like to speak to Tony's point in the chat. He says, yep, it's to shut down debate because the person crying denier has no argument. And what I'm going to say here, and I don't know if he's on your list, and if he is, we're going to bring him forward to now, is the perfect example to that was the People's Question Time today in London with Sadiq Khan. Okay? Do you know about this?
Go on.
So,
is this about the ULEZ stuff?
So the ULEZ is being expanded.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He did a public inquiry and it was overwhelmingly against the ULEZ expansion.
And he lied about the results.
Well, no, he not only did he lie about the results, it now transpires he purchased all of the cameras before he even did the public inquiry.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter what the results were going to be. It was happening.
Yeah.
Foregone conclusion. But he sat there today and he said to the crowd, if you are against my ULEZ expansion, you are standing with the far right, with COVID deniers, and with vaccine deniers.
But see,
that's what he said, those exact words.
He's a cunt.
I think that today right? I think many things before it, obviously, but I think that today should signal the end of his position as mayor. His position is no longer tenable. He's calling London citizens who are poor people who do not want to be taxed into poverty far right COVID and vaccine deniers because they don't want to be taxed into poverty.
Yeah.
His position is untenable. He needs to go.
Yeah, he does need to go. But vote him out. Try and vote him out.
I don't think votes account here. I think he should be removed. I think he should be removed. When he is labeling, smearing, lying about his citizens who are worried that they are going to not be able to feed themselves because of his £12.50 a day, right? And one of the other people on the panel actually made a very valid point, because Sadiq Khan compared the ULEZ to the smoking ban, right? He turned around and said, people didn't want the smoking ban, but the smoking ban happened, right? The other member of the London Assembly turned around and said, this isn't like the smoking ban, Sadiq, because with the smoking ban, you're not allowed to smoke anymore. What you're saying to them is, you're not allowed to drive anymore unless you give me £12.50 a day. Then you can do that. So it'd be the same as saying, you're not allowed to smoke in the pub unless you give me £12.50. And then you can smoke in the pub. This is nothing but filling the hole for the TfL mess that Sadiq Khan has made by running it into the ground.
If you can pay your way out of it, right, then there isn't an actual problem in the first place.
Well.
It's like cap and trade when it comes to carbon credits. If you can pay your way out of it,
carbon offsetting, baby.
If you can pay your way out of it, then there's not an actual problem. It's just another tax.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I've always thought about starting a carbon offsetting business because it's the biggest scam in the world.
Oh,
it is the biggest scam in the world.
It's not even a Ponzi scheme. It's just an out-and-out scam.
It's a scam, yeah. It's a scam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I was going to say something about that clown can.
Go on.
This is the guy who uses a 5-litre V8 Range Rover to take his dogs for a walk.
Yes, he does. To go anywhere, really. Yes, and probably more than one as well, because he'll have security detail travelling in another, right? Yeah. This is the biggest hypocrite. And one of the London Assembly, one of the London citizens at the London Assembly turned around to him and said, well, what are you going to do, right? Or what's going to happen to me? Because at the end of the day, I can't afford a car that's exempt from the ULEZ, and the car that I do have is not valid under your trade-in scheme. So what am I meant to do? They don't have an answer for them.
No.
Basically, he's saying starve and die.
He's not interested.
That's what he's saying.
Wait, right. Oh, there's a couple of things here that...
From Juicy, it's your lucky day. Keep going, guys.
Cheers, Joey C.
Thank you, Joey C.
We love you.
We do. We love you indeed.
Right.
And any donations that do come in during tonight's show are going towards helping me eat next week whilst I am making videos for the next channel. So I would really, really appreciate that. In fact, I will be doing a live music show tomorrow night over on the channel, other channel, just for making you happy and maybe earning a little bit of food money.
So anyway,
singing for Miss Upper, shall we say?
As I was saying, what was I saying? Before
I
was quite beautifully interrupted.
Sadiq Khan.
Yeah, I think I've finished with him now, to be fair.
I think we've all finished with him. And I really do think London should be finished with him. And I don't think voting him out is good enough. The second he turned around and he smeared basically poor people in London, called them all far-right vaccine denying COVID deniers, I think that's it. You're done. You're done. You need to.
He should be. He should be.
He needs to leave gracefully or be removed.
See, all right. So this is the problem. This is the problem because he's probably never going to get voted out.
Yeah.
Because of not because of what he stands for or who he is, but because of what he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is what's going to bring down this country.
And do you know what? You're absolutely right. It's all along racial lines, isn't it? Because people have been cowed so much to think that anybody who's not a white British male is in some kind of protected class, and if you do anything to slight them in any way, shape, or form, you must be a racist. And the thing is, people are being programmed, especially through universities and through the media, to believe this nonsense. And it is nonsense, right? Because if people do bad things, it doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. If a white person did what Sadiq Khan did today, I'd be saying exactly the same about them. Right? I don't care about his race. I don't care about his religion. I don't care about any of this. I care about the actions that he took. And the actions that he took today were to call Londoners far right, COVID denying, vaccine deniers, because they are scared, because he is unnecessarily, and I would say illegally, taxing them £12.50 a day just to drive their car.
These are just labels, aren't they? They're just convenient labels to put on people to try and make the public go against them. It's like the HMRC when they label people as tax avoiders. Yeah. You know what? See if someone's avoiding tax. Leave them the fuck alone, because they're not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, if they're legally avoiding tax, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Right?
If you are illegally avoiding tax, it's not called tax avoidance. It's called tax evasion.
And do you know what? I think that everybody should be a tax evader.
Everybody should be a tax avoider at the very least.
Yeah, at the very least. I think taxation is theft. I do.
Taxation is theft.
Yeah.
And it's like... These things, and Black Gary comes into this, because I get very conflicted when I see people talking about Black Gary, right? Very conflicted when they say things like, pay your tax. And yeah, okay, yes, and no. Because...
And Zahawi.
It's all fucking theft. Tax is all theft. I mean, if I've got to pay it, they should have to pay it. Fair enough. But if I could avoid paying it, I would. Trust me, I would.
Say, in my personal opinion, HMRC are the biggest criminal gang in the country.
Remember, people, this tax, income tax, was brought in to pay for the Napoleonic Wars, right?
We've paid for that now, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We finished them. I think we finished paying for it in what? Well, actually, it was repealed about 6 or 7 years after it was brought in, because we'd finished paying for them, right?
Briefly.
And then the year later it was brought back in. For what? I don't know, but the fucking
Because people were so used to paying
you just keep paying it,
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's theft. It is literally, they are taking money off you and doing fuck all for you, because they're giving the money away. They're spunking it away in fucking ammunition in Ukraine. They're giving it to Zelensky, who owns something like 15 freaking houses. Right?
Yeah.
Whose wife can afford to go on shopping sprees for Christmas.
$250,000 in 4 hours.
Yeah, $250,000 in 4 hours. Fuck's sake.
Yep. In one shop.
Who does she think she is? Brewster?
Jesus Christ. That was a good film, Brewster's Millions. I'd say it was one of Richard Pryor's best, actually.
In fact, if I remember correctly, Jamie Lee Curtis got her Norks out in that movie.
I think she did, yeah.
Yeah, I think she did.
I think she did. Do you know what? And the thing is, what people don't seem to understand is that one little bulk of cash that you've earned, right? So you've earned money, and you're not just taxed on it once, right? You are taxed on it every single time you make a purchase.
Once.
You are taxed. You are taxed on it when you make that money. You are taxed on it every which way possible. And people, you only lose X amount of percentage in tax. No, you don't.
Well, let's take right. If you take your wage and take 33% off it straight away, because that's your tax and national insurance.
So you've now got 67% of what you've earned, right?
So,
but you don't.
But you don't, because when you buy something, you're going to lose 20% of that in VAT.
20% of everything you purchase straight away is.
If you buy fuel, you're going to lose something like 87%, 87 pence in every pound is fucking tax.
Yeah, and you're going to get another
fuel costs nothing. Fuel is cheap. Right?
It's cheap in America as well. They moan when it goes over $3 a gallon.
I mean, you go to Saudi Arabia and you see how much it costs to... Well, fucking Andrew Tate will tell you how much it costs to fill up his Bugatti, right? But fuel is cheap. It's the tax that costs you the money, not the fuel.
Yeah. Cigarettes.
Yeah, I want my Dodge back as well, Cellini.
You just get taxed every which way. And you will probably lose, I would say, roughly 60% of that money in tax.
At least.
At least. And
then if you die, you'll lose some of it.
Yep. And
if you buy a house, you'll lose some of it.
That's why, if you know you're going to croak it, the best thing to do is start signing things over about 2 weeks before you go.
No, that's too late.
Signing it over.
Well, if you're going to gift stuff, it's got to be 7 years.
Oh.
Yeah. So they're not fucking daft. They're not daft, mate.
I'll tell you a story. So a couple of friends of mine, their family lived in Florida for a while until the hurricane about 15 years ago ripped apart their business, right?
Yeah.
And they had to come back, and to this day they had debt collectors chasing them from all over the world, actually. And what they did was they started signing all of their stuff over into their sons' names.
Yeah, why not?
So their sons own the houses and everything.
Well, why wouldn't you? You know what? See, if you've not got any money, you can't fucking pay it.
Well, exactly, and it wasn't their fault that their businesses got destroyed in the first place. So,
hey,
you know,
same boat.
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't a hurricane, though. It was the fucking government that destroyed mine.
I was going to say, when Hamza eventually becomes first minister, because we all know that's what's going to happen, right? So when Hamza becomes first minister, are you going to start appealing to him and going, "Oi, you bastard"?
I'll do exactly what I did with Nicola Sturgeon. I'll probably lose my account again for fucking harassing him.
Yeah, I would suggest caution. And also, if we're going to do that sort of thing, then why don't I fly to Scotland and we'll do an old... remember when I used to go and shout at people at the old centres?
Yeah.
I don't mind going to Holyrood.
Holyrood.
Well, Holyrood. I don't mind going to Holyrood with a camera.
Yeah, and shooting outside. Yeah,
a little bit of resurgence.
Yeah, we'll get lifted. Right, anyway.
Let's consult the chat about that one. If you would like to see me and John go out in the style of my old centre videos with a couple of cameras and start trying to have words with members of Scottish Parliament, let us know. Give us a like on the video and let us know in the chat.
Right, Ash Sarkar.
Oh my God, what has that communist done?
Said something I agreed with.
Get out!
I know. Well, it was about the book incident in Wakeford.
Yep.
She's on same side as I am. She.
Oh,
bloody hell.
Yeah. She, her.
Yeah, she, her. Yeah, same side as I'm on. Said more or less exactly the same thing. Outrageous.
Do you know
it's a fucking book.
But do you know what makes that story even worse? Because I found out something else that we didn't actually mention.
Oh.
You know the boy that scuffed the Quran?
Right.
He owned the Quran!
Oh, fucking hell.
It was his property!
I'm getting one. Fuck it.
It was his own
I'm telling you,
property.
I'm getting one, and I'm going to put it on the wall, and I'm going to ritually greet it every morning.
So, what happened was he brought it into school that day because he lost the Call of Duty bet.
I will
put that down, John.
I will ritually greet it every morning with a stroke from my friend.
Okay, now put that down. But yeah, he brought it into school that day because he lost a bet on Call of Duty with his friends, and they said if you lose or whoever loses has to bring a Quran into school. So he bought it off Amazon. He got it out of his bag. It was knocked off the table. It got scuffed. It was all an accident. There was no malice involved. It was his own property.
You can do what you like to any book that you own. There's no law against it in this country.
You can do what you like to any book.
No. You can do what you like to any book that you own.
Well, of course you can. It's his bloody property.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can do what you like. There's
And
no
yet,
laws in
him and
Britain.
his friends, not just him, but him and his friends, have all been suspended.
It's not a bad sized knife, Luke. It's not a bad sized knife. It's bigger than so. I don't know, what was it?
John.
Yeah. What?
That's not a knife, right? This is a knife.
That's not a knife.
I don't know what you're seeing, but this is definitely a knife.
That's not a knife. God, here we go.
That's not a knife.
This
is a knife.
That's a pair of scissors. Fucking Edward. Don't know where it is. Anyway, right. Where are we? So yeah, Ash Sarkar. I couldn't believe it. Okay. I'll see your knife and I'll spin you.
You call that a spoon?
Genuine police issue. Oh, see the dents on it where it's struck things?
That's why I've got a bald patch.
Right. Anyway, back to
back to the literal communist Ash Sarkar. You agree with her?
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing more to say. I mean, I agree with her. So there you go. Right. Let's move on to Hand in the Cock.
Well, what you mean in the Isabel Oakeshott revelations?
Talk about it.
Revelations that keep coming out. They're being drip fed, right? And I think they're going to be drip fed for weeks because they've got 100,000 WhatsApp messages there.
Right. So the first one about Boris talking to Hancock, saying, it seems to me that an 80-year-old would rather die than, not see his family and all that shit.
Yeah.
Right? That was out at the time.
Yeah, I believe it was, and I believe many others
because
were.
I tweeted about it. I can't show you it because I don't have access to that account anymore, Elon.
Sort it out, Elon.
But yeah, that tweet was out at the time, right? And then you get annoying people like Julia Hartley Brewer, right, going on about it, and it's like, well, why did you ignore it at the time, Brewer? Huh?
Look,
why did you ignore it at the time?
I think Brewer is another example of at least somewhat controlled opposition.
Mark Changizi's really been getting into these people, and I'm 100% behind them. Right?
Do you know what? Mark Changizi's been retweeting my stuff as well. He's been having a great time.
He is freaking on it because he's not giving them any quarter.
Good.
Because you cannot be all in, right? And then come back and say, well, I only went along with the crowd. No, you can't fucking say you only went along with the crowd. If you went along with the crowd, you were wrong. And what you have to say is sorry.
Well, yeah, and okay, right. So I kind of want to address this because lots of people are turning around and saying, this is being released as part of controlled opposition and stuff like that. And that is a prevailing narrative I see going along on Twitter. They're saying it's nothing burger. It's, and to an extent, they're probably right because all of this stuff we knew. Right, and we knew this all to be fact anyway.
None of anything that's been released hasn't been seen before.
Well, if it hasn't been seen,
that's the thing that gets me. I've seen it all before, right?
But okay, but the point I'm making here is this. Okay, what you have to understand here is, I said in our group chat, didn't I? I said we have to hold our heads high because if anything, it proves that those of us that looked at data, that looked at all of this and made our conclusions and got absolutely castigated for those conclusions, John, many others, myself, but we were right. And we were right to hold those opinions. And do you know what? And I'm going to say this, and I know you said don't talk about me so much, right? And stuff like that. But I want to say this because I did have a little tear up when this stuff came out. Because what people don't seem to understand is look how much John's lost, right? Look how much I've lost. Look how much so many in this country have lost. And for what? And then look at what we've lost for holding that position as well. And we were right. And we were right to hold that position.
Yeah.
And so there it is. There's a little bit of vindication. Where I don't care about I don't trust Isabella Oakeshot's motives. I don't trust her at all. But what I will say is, in the eyes of the normal people, if they look at this and still try to deny that we were right, then they've lost it. They've absolutely lost it.
You're right. You showed me a video the other day about Isabella Oakeshott, remember? Somebody asked her a question.
Yeah, that was yesterday.
And she just point blank never answered the question.
Yeah, and this is why I don't quite trust her motives, but because she's had hold of these messages for a year. She could have released them at any point. She could have not ghostwritten his book and completely, release them. I thought she was making money on that. It turns out she actually did the writing portion of it. I don't know if she's getting royalties, but she did the writing portion of that book for free. She took no money to write his book
because she knew she was going to throw him under the bus.
I don't know, but she took no money to write his book.
Has she accused him of sexual impropriety?
She hasn't directly accused him of that, but she has said that some of his behaviours have been inappropriate at times. I don't know what that means. She hasn't alluded to what that means.
Hold on. Can I just take you back in time a little bit? And you'll remember this. Do you remember when he was getting interviewed once? And he was standing beside a woman. It was so fucking inappropriate. It was unbelievable. Talking about, I mean, you know what? I was never a believer in social distancing, but there is a thing called personal space.
Do you know what?
And it's usually bigger than this.
So social distancing was, well, it's an oxymoron, isn't it? Because there's nothing social about distancing. Of course it is. But social distancing, I believe the 6 foot rule was created by a 14-year-old girl in a school project.
It was made up for a high school science project.
Yeah. It was not actually. There was nothing behind it. There was no reality behind it. There was no science behind it.
There still isn't.
Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, right? You weren't safe to buy alcohol in a pub unless you bought a Scotch egg. Then you were safe to buy alcohol in a pub.
Who the fuck? I mean, I've got to take my hat off. I want to know who it was that actually came up with the idea. Well, is a Scotch egg a because the wording is substantial meal, right? And the question was obviously, is a Scotch egg a substantial meal? Who had the balls to ask that?
You weren't safe to buy alcohol unless you bought a meal, John.
Yeah,
right?
And you weren't safe to take your mask off and drink it unless you were sitting down.
Yeah, and do you know what? Even the second you stood up and went to the toilet, you was unsafe again, John.
Oh, that's fucking ridiculous. I get flung out of a restaurant.
People went along.
I get refused entry to a restaurant in France because I wouldn't put a mask on to walk 3 steps to a table. Where I could have taken the mask off. But I just wasn't going to do it. I'm saying, I'm not doing it.
When Barry and Susan went to Disneyland, Barry and Susan had wristbands, didn't they?
Yeah.
And those wristbands had Barry and Susan walking around and riding everything with 3 faces.
It was like, what's his name's? Willy Wonka's chocolate ticket.
Yeah. I got a golden ticket.
Yeah.
But we was walking around just with our bracelets, and even staff were commenting and going, "You have the bracelet of power. You have the bracelet of power."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I have the bracelet of power.
But the thing is, that's what they were calling it because they knew it was bloody ridiculous.
Well, they all knew it was a load of shite. Anybody with any modicum of common sense knew the whole thing was ridiculous. And yet, now you can say it. But if you said that 2 years ago, that was it. Oof, you're the denier. You're the denier. You're out.
Me and my friend Ollie, this was the best one, right? And I've got a video of this somewhere. Right? Me and my friend Ollie were at Disneyland, and we wanted to go over to the statue of Mickey Mouse out the front because Ollie wanted to take a picture. Yeah. And there's a big, wide, open space out of the front. And there were some barriers there. And Ollie just turns around to the guy and goes, I just want to quickly go over there and get a picture. And the guy goes, so you cannot go over there because the COVID is over there. And Ollie just looks at him and goes, in this video, the COVID's over there.
The COVID is over there.
The COVID. But this is what people, where they went with their minds.
Here's a question for you, right? What's going on right now in the UK in pharmacies?
They're still queuing.
Yeah. No, it's not that. They're all still wearing masks behind the counter.
No, my pharmacy have stopped that.
Oh, they're still doing it here.
Do you know what also?
Why are they doing this?
My pharmacy has removed all of the signs that say you should wear one. They've removed all of the signs asking for a limited number of people in the shop. Ultimately, as far as they're concerned, they're open as normal and you can just walk in. Anyone can just walk in.
But they don't.
The people who are creating the queues.
Well, just rip by them. Anyway, well, that's what I used to do at the post office. People would be standing outside and I would look in and there'd be like one person inside and I go, there's nobody going in? And they'd be like that. Well, they'd be like that. And I'd be like, there's nobody going in. I'm going in then.
The best ones for me were like Tesco's and Morrison's and Asda, and there'd be massive queues to get in the supermarket. And I'd be on my mobility scooter and I'd just ride past them all like this. I'd give them the biggest shit-eating grin I could muster and just roll straight into the shop. And people would kick off a fuss and I'd be like, why are you standing there like cattle? Go in the shop if you want to shop. I just, but it was crazy. One-way systems.
Stand on the sticker.
No, Disney, it was stand between the stickers, wasn't it? They had them giant stickers on the floor and it was do not stand on the sticker.
Oh, God. And you know what? It was absolutely ludicrous.
Do you know what? One of the best ones as well? In the UK theme parks, you had to wear the muzzle on the roller coasters, on the big outdoor roller coasters. Wear the muzzle. Why?
You could have taken it off when you were going round a corner and say it blew away.
But the people did it all. I mean, I was once in the shopping centre in town, and I was casually strolling up the right-hand side in a massive, massive open space. I was casually, security guards started screaming at me. You need to walk on the left. You need to walk on the left. Why do I need to walk on the left? You might get the coof. You might get the coof if you walk on the right. It's airborne, you tits. One-way systems will do. Fuck all.
That's crazy.
Oh,
right.
Jesus.
Where are we?
Jesus Christ.
Oh. There was the other one, the other message, the actual one message that I hadn't seen before.
Mm.
The one about Hancock shutting down the schools in England because he didn't want to upset Sturgeon.
No, it wasn't that he shut down the schools in England because he didn't want to shut down.
Oh no, they wore masks. He made them wear masks. What was all that? I mean, why the fuck would you? Why would you base scientific policy, scientific medical policy on whether it was going to upset the First Minister or not.
And I mean, we've got the chief medical officer himself in that conversation going, man, there's no real reason to do it. There's no real reason to do it. And let's just not have an argument because Scottish people are doing it and we don't want to upset them.
Yeah, and we said at the time, that Sturgeon just putting it in first so that Boris will follow her, and he did.
And also,
because she's she's fly like that, you know.
I believe it was under
ginger curmudgeon,
and there was an age limit to muzzling, right? There was an age limit to muzzling, and why, if you were like, let's say it was 15, I can't remember the age limit, but let's say it was 15. And why, if 11? You were... No, I think it was a bit older than that here.
No, I think it was 11. Anyway,
but still, the point of the matter is, okay, let's say if you're 10 years, 364 days old, you don't have to wear it.
Yeah.
But the very next day, what's changed?
Death. Death has come to visit.
What has changed scientifically?
Death. Have you never seen Logan's Run? 29, 364 days old, and you're fine. 30, you will die.
I just, and what was the difference between an 11-year-old and a 40-year-old?
No.
Nothing.
Careful.
You know what I mean in relation to this. In relation to the ability to transmit a respiratory virus.
Sometimes I crack myself up.
But yeah, in relation to the ability to transmit a respiratory virus, what was the difference between an 11-year-old and a 40-year-old? Nothing. So when they put an age limit on it, what they really said was it doesn't work.
Well, we knew that. We knew that at the time.
Yeah, of course we did. Of course we did. But you got castigated for saying it. I got absolutely nuked for saying it. You know, we've been maligned, attacked, called murderers, called this, that, and the other. As a lefty, I've been called far right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I've been called far left and far right on the same day. Recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that guy that went into Tesco's in his underpants in Wales. He was quite right. Right.
Well, yeah, I would say he was quite right. And do you remember the guy that walked up Oxford Street with wearing nothing but masks on his arse and bollocks?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he walked up. It said you had to wear a mask, so it didn't specifically say where you had to wear a mask. So he wore nothing but masks as a thong and things like that.
Oh God.
But he made a point, you know. It just said you've got to wear a mask. So. And it also didn't specify what type of mask that you had to wear. So if somebody wanted to go in dressed as Pennywise the Clown.
No, it never specified. It just said face covering.
Yeah, so anything.
Yeah, anything was okay. And yeah, in Germany, they specified N95s.
And how did that go for them?
It went fucking swimmingly, didn't it?
just asking, how did that go for them?
Well, it didn't really work out. Then I hired
go look at the data and make your own conclusions.
Higher death rate in Sweden.
Yeah. I think cumulatively in 2020 and 2021, virtually every nation had a higher cumulative death rate than Sweden.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But, you know, Sweden bad. Remember that every time we looked to Sweden as the litmus test, we were just told Sweden bad, Sweden's a war zone, Sweden's a massive death trap. Everyone would tell us, just wait 2 weeks.
Yeah.
My God, the amount of times I got told to just wait 2 weeks.
I actually wonder if there are people out there still washing their shopping.
Well, I was in Tesco. You know, I briefly stepped into Tesco's earlier on today to spend the last £29 I had in the world, right? But I was in there and I counted 9 people covering their faces today. And I think after these revelations, either they haven't seen them, or like I said, if people look at what's been released and think that any of what we did was scientifically, you know, accurate, proportionate, or whatever, however you want to frame it. If anybody's looking at that and saying that this is good, I mean, we've still got the WhatsApps, haven't we? And these were released years ago as well. And I imagine they're within the 100,000 from like the business consortiums who are saying, look, despite the fact there's no evidence for this, people will have more confidence going back into shops if you mandate masks on them.
Yeah.
That's why they did it in this country.
Yeah,
consumer confidence.
And there was no evidence to suggest it would work.
Well, in the original document sent to like restaurants and pubs and things like that, there was a very clear paragraph that said the efficacy of face masks is non-existent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It said they don't work. And this was from the government. And then when the business consortiums asked for it, magically they re-released that guidance and simply deleted that paragraph. They didn't replace it with anything to say like, oh look, there is evidence these work. They just deleted it. Just scrubbed it.
Mm-hmm.
And rewrit history. And like I said, all we ever did was look at the evidence, look at the facts, look at the data. And this is what any rational person did. And I don't know. Like I said, I had a little cry. I'm not gonna take any bones about that because I think a lot of people did.
Okay. Right. Moving on. I would like to talk about an existential crisis I had this morning. I was lying in bed, not being able to sleep, and I thought, I know what the cause is. It's my reading list when I was a child. Because I remember reading things like the Bobbsey Twins, White, the Hardy Boys, White, the Nancy Drew Mysteries, White, the Secret Seven, White.
You know
the Famous Five, totally. White.
Okay, so you know the Hardy Boys were totally gay, right?
Yeah. So what's wrong with that?
No. I'm just pointing that out. People don't seem to understand that.
Okay, so what of it? But they were still white. Everybody was white. Everybody might even when I graduated to things like Sven Hassel, they were all white as well.
Also, I do think I need to just point out that people always point out that there was no such thing as LGBT representation in literature and things like that. The Hardy Boys.
I thought one of them in the Secret Seven was a bit dubious. George was definitely a lesbian in Famous Five.
Mm-hmm.
She was a lesbo.
Mm-hmm.
So
stick in the dump.
White. Dirty white, but white.
Off-white.
Green chill, generally white.
Poirot.
What?
Poirot.
White. Sherlock Holmes. White. I do love those Basil Rathbone movies. They're brilliant.
So what you're trying to tell me is that, except for the very minuscule LGBT representation, it was straight white characters that you...
Yeah, and you know what? It was strange because every time I stepped outside the door, it was always straight white people I saw.
You lived in an ethno state, John.
Well, I live in Scotland.
No, you live in White Canada.
White Canada. Wakanda! Wakanda forever! Someday... Some black guy, right? Some black guy made a video on TikTok. And TikTok to me is everything that is completely wrong with modern society encapsulated in an app, right?
It's actually the sword of Damocles that is there to destroy modern society.
Yeah, I just hate it. Right, I hate it. But anyway, this guy made a video on TikTok and obviously posted because they post it on Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a black guy going on about, and he made some really freaking good points, right?
Right.
Because he went, he says, black people weren't slaves. Because you think about it. Why would you go to Africa, load a boat up, right, with people of untested quality, right, ship them across the Atlantic Ocean to America, right, lose 60 to 80% of them to disease on the way, right?
Mhm.
When there's already an ethnic population there. He says black people were already in America before the white
I'm
people
not going
came.
down these roads.
No, I'm just saying, he makes a good point though, because why would you do that? Why would you take a product, right? In this case, slaves, and I'm just saying this because it's an illustration. I'm not condoning or saying it's a good thing, but why would you take a product where you're going to lose 60 to 80% of it between picking it up and dropping it off at the point of sale?
Okay, well, I see the point. It's just really not something I. And
when there's there
is
isn't an ethnic population there that you could use.
But do you know what? The idea of slavery actually rolled about because of Irish indentured servitude, right? Irish people.
Hold on. If anyone to this day thinks that slavery doesn't exist anymore, they're off their nut.
Well,
because,
I mean, slavery in the form that it took in America.
Well, what do you mean took in America? It takes it anywhere.
Slavery
still exists in any form that you like just now, right? Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There are still people treated and used as slaves in the Middle East.
Yeah, very much so.
Right? In Africa.
Especially black people.
There's black people got black slaves in Africa.
Yeah. They've got black slaves in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Especially in Libya.
There are people in Western society who have people that are effectively slaves.
Mm-hmm. They're called governments.
Yeah. Exactly. Because, let's face it, you're only one wage away from not eating. So you are a slave.
Yeah, you're a wage slave at the very least.
Well, you're not just a wage slave, you're a slave to government, because even if you're not getting paid, you rely on them. You don't earn a wage off government, but you rely on them to exist. You're a slave to government.
At this moment in time. Yeah.
Because if you were a free man, you would be creating your own food and you would be choosing your own path, and you can't do either.
Well, not many people can, John.
Exactly my point. We're all freaking slaves.
Yeah, we are.
We're all beholden to the governments that enslave us.
All that happened was, ever since the sort of slave trades, all that happened was the people at the top changed what the chains looked like.
Yeah.
That's all they did, right? They just changed what the chains looked like. And I mean, things like your smartphone are a big problem. And once again, that makes us hypocrites, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously we all use it, but it's like a drug. It's like a dopamine hit that gets us addicted, and then it ultimately, people end their lives because of bullying on social media. Now, all they have to do to stop that bullying on social media is like delete their account.
I know. It's like this morning, I was round at the other unit and I left my smartphone there.
Yeah.
I came back here. I didn't have my smartphone. Did I?
And how did you feel?
I felt fine.
Okay.
Well, I knew where I'd left it, right? If I'd lost it, I might have been pissed off if I'd lost it, right? Not from the point of view that I couldn't use it, but from the point of view it cost me a fucking lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I knew where it was, so I didn't have to rush round to get it. In fact, I left it there for 4 hours.
Okay.
Because I'm not beholden to it. And you know that anyway, because half the time you message me in social media and you'll get a reply like a day later.
yeah, and I mean, I do use my devices quite a lot, but I can also spend a day without them, and as well, because you'll message me sometimes, and I won't message you till like very late or the next morning.
Yeah,
and that's because I've got other things to do, and I've got other people to see, and I've got a bit of a real life.
Here's a tip: don't bother phoning me after 10 because it goes on to silent.
My phone is on silent all of the time.
All right. Yeah, but it goes on to do not disturb, so I don't even see notifications.
Well, my phone is constantly on silent because, quite frankly, I don't want to spend all day on it. And if if my Twitter goes back to the sort of interactions that it had before, I don't know if it ever will, but if it did, then it would be going off every 30 seconds, and I'd be having to look at it. I don't want that.
I don't turn notifications on for anything. I choose if I want to look at something or not.
Artifacts in reality says Ben's flexing on us.
I haven't seen him for ages. I wondered where he'd gone. I thought he might have left us.
Having a life, lol. But you know what? There are things I like to do. When I can afford it, or when somebody graciously treats me to it, I like to travel. I do. I like to travel, and I like to experience the travel that I'm doing, not through a phone screen. Because when I go to places, when I go to theme parks, when I go to resorts, when I go and do the things I like to do, so many people spend their entire day like this while they're walking around, just like this. You're at this wonderful place that's there to entertain you. It's designed to grab your attention and entertain you and immerse you into that situation, and you're doing this the whole time.
I actually prefer taking a proper camera, right?
Yeah, well, I'm taking this DSLR with me.
See, when you take a proper camera, first of all, for some reason, well, maybe it's just me because I'm old and I used to shoot film, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, you look at the composition and you make sure it's a good composition rather than just taking fucking click, 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 right? Okay. So you compose things better.
Yeah.
2, you take your time about making the picture or video, right?
Yeah.
And 3, you don't use it all the time because it's that fucking big and bulky that sometimes you just leave it behind.
Well, exactly, and sometimes if you're like, I want to do a static shot with it, I'm on the back of the scooter. I've got a tripod, and you're going to get the tripod out. You're going to set up the tripod. You're going to put it on the tripod. You're going to make sure that it's nice and steady for that bit of footage or for that. And it's the sort of thing. Yeah, I've got a gimbal for my phone, but also I will say in my phone I've started using the pro modes when it comes to the cameras, so that I can sort of do the compositions and stuff like that. But you're right. These DSLRs, they are wonderful bits of kit. And they make you less likely to be staring at your phone all day. So, Dreadeye says we always take a proper camera out with us. Well, exactly, and I'm glad, but it does make me sad. It makes me very, very sad when I go to all these wonderful places when I can, and all I see are the people that are there that should be amazed, enamored by like the theming and the rides and whatever. If we're in a theme park, they're just staring down into their phone.
It's like I was watching a bit of the practice for the Formula One today.
Right.
And the camera panned round to the paddock club, which is above the people that pay extra to get in above the pits, so they can look down on the pits. And they panned round and showed this all these people lining the wall, looking down into the pit, and all you could see were phones. You couldn't see people. Yeah. All you could see were people holding phones, filming what was going on. And it's like, just live for the moment. Because you know what? See if it's in here.
Same with the Jake Paul Tommy Fury boxing match. When you were looking up at the crowd, all you could see were the phones up.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, they're not watching the fight. They're not watching the fight. They're watching it through their phone screen.
And what's the point? Because you can go and watch it off YouTube or whatever anytime you want. You know,
and I when I go to a show, for example, because I do like going to musicals and I like going to shows and I like doing all this stuff. I always did like doing all this kind of stuff. I like to watch the show that I've gone to or that I might have paid to go to. Right? I don't want to sit there going and looking at the stage in front of me through my screen. I want to actually experience it, but so many people don't.
Yeah. It pisses me off a bit when you go to the cinema these days and people are playing with their phones all through the movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will be on my phone at the cinema until the trailers start, then it goes away.
Okay. That's acceptable.
So, yeah, when the trailers start, when the crappy adverts, like the Audi adverts or whatever.
I'm not interested in adverts, but once the trailers start, everything should go away.
Yeah, phone goes away,
in fact,
not come back out.
I would go as far as to say cinemas should install phone killers.
Ooh.
I think they should.
Our cinema is quite annoying because if you go into screen 1 or 2, which are the biggest screens, you can only get 4G. But if you go like 5, 6, 7, or 8, you can get 5G.
Yeah, why
Can't
would you
get
even
five.
bother? Why would you know that?
Because I've watched movies in all of them.
Yeah, but so I would if you could install phone killers.
Fair enough.
I don't know what it is. What is it with Morrison's? Every time you go into Morrison's, this phone signal always seems to die.
I don't know, but also, what is it with Morrison supermarkets and having underground car parks?
No, not up here.
Yeah, down here, underground car parks.
Okay.
And like for our Morrisons, they didn't want to build an underground car park, so what they did was they put the entire fucking shop on stilts and put the car park underneath it. I'm serious. I'll send you a picture. I'll go there tomorrow. I'll send you a picture.
We can't dig down, so we'll build up.
Yeah.
There you go, mate.
Yep,
Right.
They put the whole shop on stilts.
Right, okay. There's a couple of things left I was wanting to address.
We've got 25 minutes. We got time.
Right, so this one's a bit bleak.
But we've been so happy clappy.
Do you want me to leave it out then?
Well, go on. Let's just tackle
This is
it.
the thing called black transplantation.
What?
Right, so
What? Rachel Dolezal?
no, this is nothing to do with rate. It's nothing to do with race, okay?
Right.
So, black transplantation is
Yep.
and this, full disclosure, I cannot condone this, right? I don't know if it's true or not. I went down a bit of a rabbit hole last night, okay?
He couldn't sleep.
Yeah. And I found this, and apparently there's loads of people reporting on it, okay? So apparently what's happening is a lot of the people that are injured in the Ukraine war
Yeah.
are being sent across to Poland to be treated.
Right.
And they're disappearing.
Right.
And they're never coming back. Or if they are coming back, they've lost a kidney or a lung.
This is allegedly.
I gave you full disclaimer at the start.
Yep.
Nothing can be confirmed here or not. I
Nope.
told you it was a rabbit hole. It's a wild conspiracy theory and I'm just exploring it, right? Okay.
Yep.
So, and they're calling this black transplantation because what they are alleging is that people's organs are being stolen and used in the West.
What you mean, like in Chinese Communist Party prisons?
No, like in America.
No, what I'm saying is, in Chinese Communist Party prisons.
They do that, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's verified, isn't it?
Yeah, so wealthy people that need
Yeah.
organs or need things like that, they just go and take them out of prisoners, or they go take them out of Uyghur Muslims.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's it's kind of, imagine if you were a soldier and you'd had a really bad injury and you were sent across to Poland to get fixed and they fixed your leg up and when you came to, you just lost a lung. And you're like, I never get shot in the
your
fucking
lung
chest. How
collapsed.
did I lose a lung?
We are sorry, sir, your lung collapsed.
It's like, what? That's nearly as bad as that anaesthetist.
Yeah, that's not the plot of Hostel. Yeah, is that the plot of Hostel?
Oh, it's close. Yeah, isn't it? Stealing your body parts. Are you all right? You've got very yellow eyes.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not been very well, John, for
Yeah,
a
I
very
know.
long time now.
You look quite
So,
yellow about the gills. Have you got jaundice? No.
It's possible. I've not been out in the sun for a while.
Well, you wouldn't get jaundice from not being out in the sun. You get jaundice from your liver shutting down from too much sugar.
John, I'm sorry, but I have to drink this.
No, you don't. You don't have
things need to remain large, John.
Right, I tell you what, I'm just going to go and grab another beer.
Oh, for Christ's sake, there's 20 minutes left of the show, John.
That's what I mean. There's 20 minutes left and I'm out, right? So it'll only take me 2 seconds, but I want you to start talking about runaway aristocrats, black rapists, and dead babies. Okay.
Oh dear.
You were wrong.
He's just made. He thinks I was wrong, but what actually happened was option 2. You can watch back the show. But yeah, so the baby of Constance Martin and Mark Gordon, I think his name is, has been discovered in I believe a wooded area in Brighton, or between Brighton and New Haven, here in East Sussex, not very far away at all. They were actually in Crawley Crown Court today, or Crawley Magistrates Court. I was going to go up and sit in the public gallery, but I didn't have access to a car because it's only about a 35-minute drive from here. But yeah, it's happened. The baby has been dead for several weeks, and now I don't know what they mean by that. But yeah, that's the state of play. They found that the remains of the baby. It's been dead for what they say is several weeks, and they have been charged with manslaughter. And their first court appearance, as I say, was today in Crawley Magistrates Court. Now,
did we get
John,
cause of death? No.
No, not yet. They have not released that. But John, no, I was not wrong, right?
Yeah, I know.
Because I
was
gave
one of your
3
scenarios. I know.
It was option 2.
What?
It was option 2.
Option 2. Option 2 on the big list.
So I gave 3 options, didn't I? And one of them was that the baby was either stillborn or had died. And looking at now we don't know the dates and we don't know any of this, but she first showed signs of pregnancy in September. Baby's been dead for quote unquote several weeks. Now, was it a stillborn? It could well have been with those dates.
It's hard to tell because you never saw the baby's face in that picture, so that could have been anything. That could have been a doll still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, she could have been 3 or 4 months in September, which would have put her 9 months in the end of January. Yeah,
so if the baby been dead for several weeks, it's within a week or 2 of being alive at that point.
Yeah, so it's very difficult.
It's very difficult, but I would hope that if the baby was born alive, I would hope it was, natural causes rather than foul play from the parents. But
so for them to be charged with manslaughter, right?
Yeah.
They've got to have done something to have caused its death.
But they've not done the post-mortem yet, so they wouldn't know that.
Yeah, so how can
they've been charged with, because they've been charged with gross negligence manslaughter. So I'm guessing manslaughter by their negligence?
I'm struggling to see where the evidence is here.
Well, if there's no post-mortem, there is no evidence.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit premature to be charging them with anything until you've got the
evidence. And also, if the stillborn scenario does come to pass, and I'm not saying it will, but in the chance that it does, then how could you be charged with manslaughter for a stillborn baby?
You can't, but you could be
concealing a corpse, maybe.
Concealment of pregnancy is a crime in Scotland. I don't know if it exists in England.
I don't know.
But she didn't really conceal the pregnancy, did she?
No, she didn't. I think concealment of the birth of a child is a crime.
I think you're struggling to get anything, really. Yeah, it is. You're right, Adam. It is a bit of a trial by social media, to be fair.
You don't know.
Most things are these days.
None of us know what has happened here.
Exactly.
What we know is what we know, and what we know is what we have been told about the quote unquote facts of the case, and they're all I will speak to. And obviously, I am speculating, right? But I will put that in the speculation category. That's why when I gave a bunch of scenarios the other day, I said that was my speculation based upon the evidence that was available to us, and one of my scenarios has come to pass.
Yeah.
But trial by social media is absolutely right. There are so many people on there. I mean, the second that they announced that they found the baby, you should have seen some of the comments. It's like they both need to swing, hang them, kill them, things like that. And it's like, you don't know what's happened here. This could be a tragic stillborn. I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying is it could be. And
people are way too quick to judge.
Yeah, and if it
way too quick to judge.
And if it was a stillborn, then everybody in that scenario is a victim. Everybody. The baby, the mother, the father, the extended family. They're all victims in that scenario. Now, once again, I'm not saying that was the scenario that's occurred here. What I'm saying is, I don't know. But what I'm also saying is, nor does anybody else on Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. And they need to stop this madness.
Yeah, but they won't. People won't, because people like to get their nib in, don't they?
Trudy said she thought stillborn. And do you know what? The dates would, if the dates are what the dates are, the dates would lend to that being a possibility.
They do.
So we just don't know, is what I'm saying. And neither does anybody else on Twitter, and they need to shut the fuck up. And I say that with the greatest of respect. Shut the fuck up.
You're right.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
neither do we.
Anyway,
right, can we stop talking about that now?
Let me tell you a story.
I do like a story.
Let's go back in time to November 2019.
Yep.
When a certain professor was arrested at Boston Airport.
With some samples.
With some samples of biological material. With his intern, who turned out to be a serving captain in the CCP.
Yep.
Right. And the lab assistant, right?
Yeah.
Who were all booked on a flight to where?
Wuhan.
So,
and I mean, it's obvious where those samples were going. It would be the only level 4 biolab in Wuhan, right?
So it now right, yeah. Well, yeah. So here's the things that's now coming out. There are apparently no level 4 biolabs in China.
So what, Wuhan was just pretending to be one?
Oh, Wuhan is a level 3 biolab.
Right.
Obama told them to get the stuff out of South Carolina, which was a level 4 biolab, because it was illegal to do gain of function research in the States.
But
so they
the
sent
money and the
it
materials
to Wuhan,
to
which
Wuhan.
was funded by the NIH and Fauci.
Yeah, and France, I believe, as well.
Yeah, right. And apparently that's where the lab leak came from. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, once again, this is another thing you just couldn't talk about. You know, everybody was going, a coronavirus has magically sprung up from Wuhan when, you know, right in the epicenter of all of this, there is a supposedly level 4 biolab. And what is that biolab studying? Bat coronavirus. Oh, no, what didn't come from there?
Yeah, now the mass media are saying, yeah, it did come from there, aren't they?
Do you know what? We need to start hashtag on Twitter. We need to get it trending. Hashtag we were right.
Yeah, I know.
Hashtag we were right. Because, John, guess what? I'm sick of being right.
We are right more often than we're wrong.
Yeah, I'm sick of it, to be honest. I think, you know, some Stu Peters level of sensationalism might be in order here.
But yeah, I mean,
Hydras.
It's like, oh my God. How many times do we say it at the time? How many times we told this story about the fucking Harvard professor and his CCP captain of being arrested? How many times? And then remember we gave an update as well, because he didn't drop it. He was going, the last time we looked at it, he was still being tried and had been in jail for 6 months. So it wasn't as if they just brushed it under the carpet.
Yep. do you know what?
It's ridiculous.
I once again, like I said, I'm sitting here in a bellhop hat, right?
Uh-huh.
And we've been trying to, make people laugh and entertain people whilst talking about pretty serious things tonight. I'm sitting here in a bellhop hat, and this show is probably one of the most correct shows on the internet. And look at how we look. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people, if you've enjoyed this, then please don't forget to leave a little like. We would really, really appreciate that. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I hope we've earned that off of you if you're not already subscribed. The most important thing you can do right now is evangelize, and that means press that share button. Doesn't matter if you're watching on YouTube, it doesn't matter if you're watching on Rumble, it doesn't matter if you're watching on Twitter. Hit that share button. Make sure people come to these shows. We're live Mondays and Wednesdays at 2 p.m. and then Friday night like this. It's a much more unstructured, off the cuff version of the show, which we like you to get involved in as well. Yeah, 9 o'clock Friday nights. If you'd like to support us even further, you can do so at patreon.com/chasing dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/chasing dissent. And I'm still undecided, but tomorrow night over on our second channel, The Swamp Adventures, I may well be singing for my French supper. So with that in mind, John, have we reached a logical conclusion for tonight?
I think I may have covered all my talking points. Is there anything that you'd like to bring up?
No, I think it's been a lovely flowing. I think it's been good fun. We've covered some hard stuff. We've covered some funny stuff. We've made them laugh. We've made them cry. We've brought them along a full emotional journey to this point.
Okay, and before we go, right? What? I mean, I think most of the audience is probably English, right?
Yeah.
What do they think of the shenanigans that are going on in Scotland right now? Have you seen the Kate Forbes thing?
We think you're fucked.
Yeah, I know that. But have you seen the Kate Forbes thing?
Kate Forbes is probably an okay-ish candidate.
Yeah, but have you seen the latest?
What's the latest?
That the Daily Record's political editor has exposed.
What is
breaking news. So, breaking news, he exposes the fact that her husband went to a Tory party hosting. Right?
And when sat in the audience?
Yeah. But
really?
Apparently, it was only for Tory party members. Now, no, but hold on. Who the fuck cares?
No, I don't care.
Yeah, but why should your wife and what she votes for have anything to do with you and who you vote for?
Well, the answer is, John, that it absolutely shouldn't. There is no other answer.
Exactly.
And, if we're to listen to what the Daily Record are trying to imply, then what they're implying is that they must be forced to not be individuals and vote the same way.
Or because her husband might be a Tory, right?
They can't be married.
She shouldn't be running for leadership of the SNP. Who gives a fuck? Really? And this would indicate that there's a difference between government political parties. Is there?
I think that there's a difference between human beings, John, and I think we're all individuals. I think we all have our individual minds, and I don't think that what we want to vote should be questioned or should affect the lives of others. I think the Daily Record need to shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's all I'm going to say. You guys in Scotland are absolutely screwed.
Yeah, I think so.
And with that, John, I'm going to, when this show finishes, Vaughan, I'm going to go in the house. I'm going to pick up the controller. And I'm going to see you all 10 minutes after the show finishes.
Team trash.
John,
So with that, I'd like to thank you one and all for attending this episode 22
Yeah, week 22
of Friday Night Live, All In with John and Ben. It's been great. For you.
You can see the writing on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah.